Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and American Carnage, issue number 9, the final issue. That's it. We're done. We're not going to get any more of these. Oh man, I don't know why Brian Hill hates the main character so much. Like, it's his main character. It's like he wrote him down. He's like, okay, what's the main thing to know about Richard? He owes me money. Therefore, he hates him, and that's why he just messes with him the entire time. Look. Let's get into who made the book. Spoilers, Brian Edward Hill. Let's talk about who made this book, and then we're going to move on with just a little bit more about this book, about the series, and about what movie this is tied to, whether anybody admits it or not. All right. So this issue is called Sacrifice. Brian Hill is the writer. Leandro Fernandez does the art. Dean White does the colors. The letters are done by Pat Brousseau, and the cover is Ben Oliver. Look, man. Oh, American Carnage was made by Brian Hill and Leandro Fernandez. Dude, Richard, this whole entire, everything that happens in this book, okay? When you find out what the narration of this entire book actually is, and you have to get to the I think it's the second from last page, whatever it is, around the last page to realize who is narrating this entire book. And, or, you know, I don't know if, no, I think it's just this issue. Yeah, just this issue. Who's narrating this entire issue and where that comes from? That was like a moment where you step back like, oh, shoot, okay, I get it. I get it. I get that. That was a good one. That was a good one. I feel like I should have expected it, but I did not. And that just makes me happy. Morgan Wynn is in for a huge change for his life, man. Jennifer was the big crux of this issue, man. When she gets that phone call by Richard saying, I'm going to kill your father tonight. She says, listen, I need you to calm down. He says, do I sound calm? She says, yes, you sound very calm. By the way, the entrance into the house, the key code is, and she gives him the key code. Wow. Now, the explanation that she gives for everything is wicked. All of it. It's wicked. Richard turns out to be a hell of a liar here when it comes to her daughter, because he says something to her daughter. And of course, you know, he has to sign it to her because she's deaf. She asks him a question, and he straight, bold-faced lies to her. And that, for me, I feel like that was his way of saying that he's not the good guy. Is he a bad guy? It's hard to say. But he's not the good guy. That's for sure. Who is the good guy here? You know, the good guy is the guy who sacrifices, but not blatantly, not without losing something of himself. It's so easy for so many of us to just say, I would give my life for. Well, you know, that's not necessarily giving your life for something. You could dedicate your life to something. That's different. Richard took the easy way out in this, and I was a little shocked to see what he did. I loved when he started firing the gun at Jennifer. Because, like, for me, she has had her cool for so long now. It's like you can see that she can lose control, but she refuses to lose control in front of the help, if you don't mind me saying. When she finally got freaked out, and Richard's like, I just want to see if you can get scared. So it's true. You can get scared. I'm like, damn. Yo, he's talking calm, but that's that psychopathic, you know, I'm gonna get you calm. That was a little bit freaky. Like, you could tell he was done. He was done with all the crap. He was done. Wow. So when he pulls the trigger on who he pulls the trigger on, 18 and life, you got it. 18 and life to know. Dude, I'm just saying, Skid Row, that's the only song that was stuck in my head. If I wasn't so enraptured by the comic book, I would have gone and put that, like, turned that on right now, boom, and just started blasting that. Well, you can't blast that song. It doesn't work to blast that song. But just have it in the background as I'm reading. Like, dude, wow. Wow. But here's the part of this entire comic book. The whole series, that got to me. And I am so glad that it wasn't mentioned until this issue, just for the sake of conversation. The Hagakure. This is a book written about, I don't know, a couple centuries ago, all right? At least 200 years ago. So it's not one of those, the Hagakure is not one of those fake-ass books. Because you get a lot of those, you know, the Shambhala books and the Zeni blah, blah, blah books. And, oh, this was, you know, the what do you call it, the Llewellyn Press books and stuff like that. I want to study magic. Well, then you're not going to find it in a freaking bookstore. You got to go and actually sit at the feet of somebody in, like, you know, the Golden Dawn or the OTO or something like that. Maybe go to the Church of Set, something. But going to a freaking Llewellyn Classics book, that's just not going to work for you. We get a deep cut in here when he says the Hagakure. Why does this change the entire meaning of this 9-issue series for me? Does anybody remember a particular movie featuring Forrest Whitaker called Ghost Dog? It's going to be a whole bunch of people who, most people I think are just going to be like, what? But there's also going to be a lot of people who have watched that movie and are like, yeah, that movie sucked. Dude, the ending. Then there are people like me, select few, who watch this movie and maybe we've read the Hagakure, or we've had somebody else read it, you know, like talk to us about it. Maybe a little Gorin no Sho, right? Talked about this book, read this book, and we understand why this is one of the classic movies. Because in so many ways, it's perfect. The perfect representation of the samurai. A good way to learn how to live. Look, there's a whole bunch of crazy things in there. It's just like, no, whatever. Samurai weren't meant to die, all right? But they were willing to if they needed to. This book tells you how to live. You are not a peasant, but you're definitely not an aristocrat. You're a soldier. And this is your guide by which to go by. When I watched that movie, I feel like I gotta watch that movie again now. I gotta find that movie. How come I don't own that movie? Oh, that's right, because I lost my copy when I went to the Middle East for the second time. Anyway, in this particular time, I don't think I ever showed that movie to my wife. I think she would like that movie. I now read this comic book in that vein. I gotta go back and I gotta read this from issue 1 to now. This is not one of those books you let go. This is not one of those books you forget about. This is one of those books you buy the trade paperback, even though you own, in my case, most of the copies of the floppies. Ooh, that rhymed. This was amazing. Once this trade paperback is about to come out, I'm going to throw myself at the mercies of Mr. Edward Hill and ask him, dude, please grace me with your presence. Some of your time, and talk to me about this amazing story that you wrote. And if he tells me somehow that he did not do this in the vein of Ghost Dog, I'm going to be real angry. Because that is what this reminded me of. Guys, when you finish this book, if you haven't watched it, go out. Forrest Whitaker, Ghost Dog, amazing. And then, while you're out, maybe consider going out. What is it? It's going to be like $4 or $5. It's got to be less than $10, right? Get the Hagakure. It is an amazing book. There is no narrative in it. It's just lessons. All right? It's kind of like a self-help book for samurai. Read this again. This was a classic. That's what this was. All right, guys, I'm done. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.